Every generation gets one technological window, and this is ours. Welcome to Orbit Capital, a 5-part documentary exploring the companies building the future of artificial intelligence. Every generation gets one moment, one window, where the right investment changes everything. We are living inside that window right now. In 1995, the internet was a curiosity. By 2005, it had created trillionaires. What's happening with artificial intelligence today is 10 times bigger, and most people still don't see it. The companies positioned at the center of this revolution, right now in 2025, are not just stocks. They are infrastructure for the entire future economy. 7 companies, 7 different ways to own the AI revolution. And by 2030, analysts believe at least 3 of them will become the most valuable businesses ever built by human hands. But before we reveal them, you need to understand what makes an AI stock truly generational, because not all of them will survive, and the ones that fail will take billions of dollars down with them. The dot-com crash of 2000 erased $5 trillion. Companies like Pets.com, Webvan, and eToys vanished overnight. But Amazon, already bleeding cash, quietly survived. And then it became everything. A $10,000 investment in Amazon in 2001, at the height of the panic, would be worth over $9 million today. The lesson? The right company, bought during fear, is the most powerful wealth machine ever created. Artificial intelligence is not a trend. It is a fundamental restructuring of every industry on Earth: healthcare, finance, defense, energy, transportation. The companies building this infrastructure are playing for keeps. Goldman Sachs projects AI will add $22 trillion to the global economy by 2030. That is larger than the entire current GDP of the United States. The gold rush has already begun. So the only question that matters: which 7 companies will capture the largest share of that wealth? Stay with us, because what you're about to see will change the way you think about money forever. To understand where AI investing is going, you must first understand where it came from, because this is not the first time America has bet its future on a technology it barely understood. The railroad boom of the 1840s made millionaires overnight and destroyed thousands of investors who bought too late. The pattern that followed has repeated itself in every great technological revolution since. Then came electricity, then oil, then the automobile, then aviation. Each wave created dynasties: Rockefeller, Carnegie, Ford, Hughes. Each wave also left a graveyard of companies that almost made it. But the most instructive boom for AI investors isn't the railroads or oil. It's the semiconductor revolution of the 1960s. And one company that almost nobody remembers, almost becoming the most important business in history. Fairchild Semiconductor invented the integrated circuit. They had everything: the talent, the technology, the timing. But poor management decisions let their best engineers walk out the door and start a small company called Intel. Intel went public in 1971. A $1,000 investment that day would be worth over $200,000 at its peak. The semiconductor was not just a product. It was the foundation of an entire civilization. The 1990s internet boom was the closest parallel to what we're experiencing today. Capital flooded in, valuations defied gravity, and the smartest investors in the world were buying and losing simultaneously. Between 1995 and 2000, the NASDAQ gained over 500%. Taxi drivers were giving stock tips. Shoeshine boys were discussing IPOs. Warren Buffett, who refused to buy .coms, was publicly called a relic. Then March 10th, 2000 arrived. The NASDAQ peaked at 5,048. What followed was the most devastating crash in technology investing history, wiping out over $5 trillion in 18 months. But hidden inside that wreckage were the seeds of the greatest wealth creation in history. Amazon, Google, Salesforce. The investors who bought during the panic didn't just recover. They retired. That same pattern is playing out in AI right now. Artificial intelligence as a concept was born in 1956 at a summer conference in Dartmouth, New Hampshire. A small group of mathematicians made a bet that would take 70 years to pay off. For decades, AI was a promise trapped inside university laboratories. The computers weren't powerful enough. The data didn't exist. And Wall Street couldn't care less about something it couldn't price. Then something unexpected happened. In 2012, a graduate student at the University of Toronto submitted a paper that stunned the entire field of computer science. His name was Alex Krzyzewski. His neural network had just taught itself to see. That paper, AlexNet, didn't just win a computer vision competition. It proved that deep learning worked at scale. Within 18 months, every major technology company on Earth was hiring AI researchers at any price. Google paid $44 million to acquire Geoffrey Hinton's AI lab in 2013. A lab with no products, no revenue, and just 3 employees. Wall Street thought they were insane. History proved them visionary. Between 2012 and 2022, venture capital investment in AI companies grew from $600 million annually to over $90 billion, 150 times in a single decade. That is not a trend. That is a tidal wave. Then, on November 30th, 2022, everything changed again. OpenAI released ChatGPT to the public. Within 5 days, it had 1 million users. Within 2 months, 100 million. The fastest adoption of any technology in human history. The stock market's reaction was immediate and violent. Microsoft, which had invested $13 billion in OpenAI, surged 40% in 3 months. The AI arms race had officially begun on Wall Street. But here is the critical question every serious investor must ask, and almost nobody is answering correctly. In an AI revolution this large, which layer of the market do you own? The picks and shovels? The platforms? Or the applications? The 7 companies we're about to reveal operate across all 3 layers of the AI economy. Some build the hardware. Some build the intelligence. Some deploy it at a scale that would have seemed impossible just 5 years ago. Let's begin. Stock number 1. A company that was once known only for making video game graphics cards, that quietly, almost accidentally, built the engine powering the entire artificial intelligence revolution. NVIDIA, ticker symbol NVDA. Founded in 1993 in a Denny's restaurant in San Jose, California, by Jensen Huang, a man who would one day become the most important person in the technology industry. For its first decade, NVIDIA made graphics processing units, GPUs, for gaming. The stock was volatile, the company nearly bankrupt twice. Nobody in finance was watching. But inside the chips, something extraordinary was happening. A GPU processes thousands of tasks simultaneously in parallel. A CPU, the traditional computer chip, processes tasks one at a time, sequentially. Training an AI model requires parallel processing at a scale almost impossible to comprehend. When researchers at Google and Stanford discovered in 2009 that GPUs could train neural networks 100 times faster than CPUs, Jensen Huang immediately understood what that meant. NVIDIA wasn't just a gaming company anymore. NVIDIA launched CUDA in 2006, a software platform allowing researchers to program GPUs for any computational task, not just graphics. At the time, almost nobody used it. By 2020, it was the backbone of every major AI system on Earth. In January 2019, NVIDIA stock traded at around $130 per share, By June 2023, it had crossed $400. By 2024, it crossed $1,000. An investor who held through the fear collected generational wealth. But the past is not the investment. The future is. So why do serious analysts believe NVIDIA remains one of the most important AI stocks through 2030? The answer is a word most retail investors have never heard: the moat. NVIDIA's moat is not just hardware. It is the CUDA software ecosystem. 17 years of researchers, developers, and institutions building their AI systems around NVIDIA's architecture. Switching away is not just expensive. For most, it is impossible. By 2030, analysts at Morgan Stanley and Bank of America project the AI chip market alone will be worth over $300 billion annually. NVIDIA currently holds over 80% of that market. The math speaks for itself. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a new financial era. The future is already here. Thank you for watching Orbit Capital.